Hello everyone, this is part 1 of how to make a Pac-Man game in Scratch. In this series, I'll be teaching you how to make a fully functioning Pac-Man game with custom levels, enemies that follow the player, points, power-ups, and everything else. And in this video, I'll be starting with showing you how to code a tile-based map editor that can be easily changed to create your own custom stage. Anyways, before we begin, this video is sponsored by Core. Core is a really cool free game creation platform that lets you build, publish, and play games. If you want to create awesome professional looking games like a 3D multiplayer game, then you can easily do so. Similar to Scratch, you can use Core without writing any code, and you can get started making games right away using thousands of free, high quality music, sound, and art assets. But if you like to get deeper, Core still lets you create your own game logic in Lua. You can build games from the ground up or remix content shared by other creators, and when you're ready to publish, you can instantly publish your game on the Core platform with the click of a button. Core also takes care of all the hassle that usually goes into making a game, such as multiplayer networking. Also, Core is now accepting applications for their Invitational Game Jam, a game development competition running from March 4th to April 5th. Make the most impressive game in Core, competing against other game creators for $120,000 in prizes. So if you're interested in making games using Core, I highly suggest you to check it out. Link is in the description below. Anyways, let's get started. So of course, the first thing that we have to make for our Pac-Man game is the map, or the level. And for that, I'm going to make a tile-based map creator, which makes it really easy to create levels. So how the map creator works is that we want to imagine our map as a grid of tiles. And we want to create a list and make it so that if we have, for example, 1011 in our list, then on our map, it will show a wall, then no wall, then another wall. So based off our list, our level will be created tile by tile. So to do that, let's first go to our cat sprite, and I'm going to name this map. Okay, and then inside of the costumes, I'm going to delete the second one and clear out the first one. And for this one, I'm going to draw our wall tile. So I'm going to start simple and just make a simple blue square. So I'll choose a blue color like so, and then draw it around here. So I'll make it about this tall and this wide. All right. And by the way, make sure to center this. Okay. And I'm also going to convert to bitmap. All right. So now let's say we want a wall to be equal to the number 1. Then in that case, I'm going to name this costume 1. And then since a blank tile is going to be equal to 0, then I'm going to paint a new costume and then leave it blank and name it 0. All right, then I'm going to drag this on top. So now inside of the code, I'm going to go to events and drag a when flag clicked. And inside of the variables, I'm going to create a new list, and I'll call this list map, and then click OK. All right, so this map list is going to contain our entire level. So first off, when the flag is clicked, I'm going to delete all of map just to clear it out. And then right after, I'm going to drag an add thing to map block and drag it after the delete all. And for now, I'm just going to try something like 10111. All right, so as you can see, we have a 10111 if we click the green flag. And then that would mean that I want a wall and then a blank and then 3 walls right after that. So to create our level based off this map list, I'm going to first go to my blocks and create a new block. And I'll call this something like generate level and then click OK. All right. And then right after this add 10111, I'm going to generate the level. And then in this generate level block, what we want to do is pretty much take each number in this item right here and pretty much paste a wall or nothing based off of whether it's a 1 or a 0. So to do that, let's first go to control and drag a repeat block, put it under the generate level. And to get the length of this right here, which is 5 because there's 5 digits in here, then we have to go to operators and then drag a length of block and go to variables, drag a item 1 of map block, and then drag this inside of the length of, and drag all of this inside of the repeat. All right, so this should repeat 5 times. And now we want to keep track of what number we are on while we are repeating through this item. So to do so, we have to go to variables, create a new variable, and I'll call this something like map x, and then click OK. And I'm also going to delete this my variable. All right, so when the flag is clicked, let's first set map x to 0, and make sure to put this before the generate level block. And inside of this repeat, I'm going to change map x by 1. All right, and now to make the tile either a blank or a wall, we have to go inside of looks and switch costume to grab a map x, and then drag a item 1 of map and put this map x inside of the 1. So we want to switch costume to item map x of map. And then let's drag this right after the change map x by 1. Alright, so since we named the blank a0 and the wall a1, then our first number right here is going to be a wall, and then our second number is going to be a blank, and our third number and fourth number and fifth numbers are going to be walls. So that's pretty much how that works. And now we want to actually create copies of the images. So to do that, we have to click this blue button right here to add an extension, and let's add the pen extension. This way now we have all of the pen blocks, and what we can do is simply drag a stamp right after the switch costume to, and that way it just creates a direct copy of this image. It's sort of like the create clone of myself block. So now let's also remember to drag and erase all when the flag is clicked. And lastly, we want to also move each tile to the right when we create a new one, because right now all the tiles are in the exact same place. So to do that, let's go to motion, drag a go to XY block, and go to variables, drag a map X, and then go to operators, drag a multiplication operator, and drag the map X on the left, and on the right is going to be our spacing. So for right now, I'm just going to try something like 20. Okay, and then let's drag this inside of the X and put this block right before the stamp. And I'm also going to go to looks and hide the original sprite, and then show under the generate level. All right, so if you try it out, then okay, the tiles are not showing, and that is because, oh yeah, inside of the switch costume to, we have to actually go to operators and drag a letter 1 of operator, and then drag this item map X of map on the right side, and drag this map X on the left, and then drag this back inside of the switch costume to. Alright, so now it should go from number to number, and then switch costume based off whether it's a 0 or a 1. Alright, so let's try it out. And now, as you can see, we have 5 tiles. 4 of them are walls, and 1 is a blank, like in the list. Alright, however, I want the walls to be connected, so I'm going to try decreasing the spacing to something like 15. Alright, I think that looks better. However, the gap is not the same width as a wall, so I'm going to go inside of the costumes and use the eraser tool, try a size of like 4, and then take off maybe like 1 pixel, so this much. Alright, so let's try it out. And alright, the walls and the spacing seems to be the same size. And now we want the map to also create walls downwards. So inside of the code, we have to add more items to this map list to create more rows of walls. So just to make this a bit more organized, I'm going to right click and add a comment. And for this one, I'm just going to type 1 because this is the first row of our map list. All right, then I'm going to click this arrow. Okay. And now I'm going to right click, duplicate it, and then try something like 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. And I'm going to add a comment saying 2 because this is the second row of the map list. All right. And if we try this out, then as you can see, the second row does not get created because right now we're only using the costumes from the first row of the map. And also our Y position is not changing. So to add multiple rows, we have to go to variables and create a new variable. And I'll call this map Y, and then click OK. And right before the generate level, let's set map y to 0. All right. And then inside of this generate level block, we have to go to control, grab a repeat, and go to variables, grab a length of map, and drag this inside of the repeat. So this will repeat 2 times because we have 2 items in this map list. And then I'm going to drag this around the repeat length of item 1 of map. All right. And just to make this a bit more clear, I'm actually going to create another new variable and call this something like map width, and then click OK. And I'm going to set map width to this and put it right under the when flag clicked over here. And then inside of this repeat, I'm going to drag in the map width. All right. So keep in mind that this repeat loop repeats through each number in one item, while this repeat loop repeats through each item. So before this repeat loop, we have to set map x to 0 and also change map y by 1. And that way, every single number in every single item in the map list will be checked. All right. And now inside of this item 1 of map, we want to drag a item map y of map. And also let's duplicate this multiplication and change this map x to map y and drag this inside of the y position. And since we want to generate the map from top to bottom, we have to actually multiply by -15. All right. And now if we try it out, then as you can see, we have 2 rows of the map generated. And by the way, we don't actually have to use 0s and 1s for walls and blanks. So I'm actually going to try using like pluses like this, and then also squigglies like these. By the way, this character right here is on the top left of your keyboard. So I'm going to try that. And then if we change these characters over here, then we have to also go inside of the costumes and then make sure that a wall is a plus and then the blank is a squiggly. All right, so if we try it out, then we have the exact same like so. All right, so I think I want this map to be about this wide and this tall. So I want the first block to start somewhere around here. So I'm going to create a new variable and I'll call this something like map offset x and then click OK. And I'm also going to make a map offset y. All right. And when the flag is clicked, I'm going to set map offset x to something like, let's try -150. And then I'm going to set map offset y to something like, let's try 100. All right. And now under the generate level block, we want to go to operators, grab a plus, and add this map x times 15 plus the map offset x, and then also do the same thing for the map y. So map y times -15 plus the map offset y. All right, so now if we try it out, then as you can see, the stage starts generating from here. And I think I'm going to increase my y to like 150. Okay, maybe 180. And all right, I think that's a pretty good place to start generating the map. And now I'm going to also hide all these variables, and I'll keep this map list shown for now. So now I want to extend this level all the way to this side. So I'm going to try adding a few more walls. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's try that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe 19 I think is a good number. All right, so I think I'm going to make my map 19 tiles wide. And for the height, I will see as I create the map. But anyways, how I'm going to create the rest of this level is actually by right-clicking and then adding a comment. And then this is sort of going to be my map creator. So I'm going to copy and paste this right here. All right, and copy this and paste this on the next line. And then once I'm done drawing my map right here, then I'm going to copy line by line into these blocks. All right, so I'm going to get started. Alright, so now I finished drawing my entire map, and I also added a separate comment with all of the rows of the map to make it easier to copy from this map to the list. So I'm going to copy the first one, Control C, and then Control V here. And then for the second one, copy, and then copy. Alright, and then I'm going to right click, duplicate to add a new list item. So this one's going to be item 3. And then I'm going to copy the third line and then paste it in the third item. All right. And then I'll do the same for the rest of my 19 rows. All right, so now I have all 19 rows inside of my map list, and I've also numbered them from 1 to 19. Okay, so now I'm going to reconnect this block at the end and then try it out. And as you can see, the map is generating. So it's going row by row and creating the tiles and blanks. And let's see how my map turned out. Okay, so it's a bit short. So I think I'll have to add like 3 or 4 more rows. Okay, so I just finished my map, and it is 23 rows long. And by the way, you don't have to draw out your map in this comment, but I find it easier to see the map through these symbols and then picture the actual map on the screen. And now if we click the green flag, then as you can see, our map generates tile by tile. However, we want the map to create all of its tiles at once. And to do that, we can just right click the generate level custom block and then edit, and then select run without screen refresh. And if we click the green flag, then the tiles should appear instantly, like so. All right, and for the background, I'm actually going to change it into a black background. So inside of the stage and in the backdrops, I am going to create a black rectangle around this. Okay, make it black. And now I think that looks a bit better. And for the map color, I might make it a bit darker blue. I think that might look a bit better. So I'll grab the eyedrop tool, select this blue, and choose a blue like this. Okay, I think this looks a bit better. And yeah. And now the next thing I want to do is actually improve the walls a bit, because in the actual Pac-Man game, there are different types of walls, and the walls are a bit curved and also thinner. So I'm going to create a lot of new wall tiles. So this includes corner walls and side walls and stuff like that. Alright, so now I finished drawing all of my different tiles, and now to make these appear instead of these regular square tiles, we have to go inside of the code, and I'm going to create a new block. So go to My Blocks, create a block, and I'll call this something like check, or actually switch costume, and then click OK. And inside of this switch costume block, before we create each tile, we want to check whether the tile above, below, to the left, and to the right is a wall or a blank, and then switch to the appropriate costume. So we have to create a new variable, and let's call this wall on left. Okay. And then let's create another one called wall on right. Okay. And then one called wall on top. And lastly, wall on bottom. All right. So inside of this custom block, let's first go to control and then drag in if else. And let's first check the wall on our left. So in our map list right here, if we are currently, for example, on this character right here, then we want to check the plus sign to the left of it. So to get that, we have to go to variables, grab in item 1 of map, and drag the map Y inside of the 1. And then let's go to operators, drag the letter 1 of apple block, and then drag this on the right side, and then drag a minus operator drag it on the left side, and then go to variables, drag the map x, and -1. So this just pretty much gets the character before our current character in our map list. All right, and then we want to go to operators and grab an equals and check if it's a plus, which means that it's a wall. Then we want to go to variables and set wall on left to 1, and that's going to mean yes. Else, let's set wall on left to 0. All right, and for the wall on the right, we can just duplicate this, and instead of a -1, we can grab a +1, so map x +1, and then set wall on right to 1, else set it to 0. All right, and then for wall on top, we can duplicate this again, and then instead of +1 here, we actually have to do -1 to map y. Because, for example, if we're on like this blank right here, then the tile above it is actually the first item in the list, not the third. So that's why we have to do -1 to get the top tile. All right, so set wall on top to 1, else set wall on top to 0. And then for wall on bottom, we can do wall on bottom to 1, wall on bottom to 0, and do map y +1. All right. And lastly, we want to drag our switch costume to block and actually put it on the very bottom of this switch costume to custom block. And then we want to switch costume to, let's try grab a join and then another one, and then grab one more, and then put this one on the left side, this one on the right side, and let's try join wall on left, and then wall on top, and then wall on bottom, and then wall on right, and drag this inside of the switch costume to block. All right, so this entire join block is going to have 4 digits, and they're going to be either 0s or 1s. So for example, if a tile has walls on all sides of it, then it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 1. And if a tile only has a wall on top of it, then it's going to be 0, 1, 0, 0, like so. And then using that, we can name our costumes in here based on those 4 numbers. So we don't actually need this anymore. And inside of our costumes, I don't actually need this square, so I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to go through all of these images and then name them correctly. So for this one, this is a top left wall because I'm expecting, for example, like walls over here and walls over here. So that means there is a wall on the right and there is going to be a wall below. So in this case, since it's left, top, bottom, right, then there's going to be no wall on the left, so 0, no wall on the top, so that's 0, 1 wall on the bottom, so that's 1, and then 1 wall on the right, so that's also 1. So this one's going to be named 0011. All right, so I'm going to go through all of these and then name them. All right, so I've named all of my 16 walls. And now inside of the code, the last thing we have to do is go to control, grab an if else, and we want to check, first of all, if it's a wall, then run this block. Else, just have a blank. So inside of operators, let's grab an equals, and let's grab a letter 1 of block, and check if letter map x of, and then go to variables, item 1 of block, put on the right side, and then go to variables, grab a map y, and check if letter map x of item map y of map is equal to the plus, then we want to switch costume because that's a wall. Else, we can just switch costume to the blank costume, which is the squiggly. All right, and let's drag this right before the stamp, and let's try it out. So if we click the green flag, then, okay, so it seems like I may have misnamed a few walls, and the spacing is a bit weird, but I can easily fix that by going inside of the costumes and fixing the names. So let's see. Oh yeah, so I named this one wrong, 1000, and then this one is 0001, and then this one is 0100, and then this one is 0, 0, 1, 0. All right, so let's try it again. And all right, cool. As you can see, now the walls look a lot better. So here is our map list. And we have successfully made it into an actual Pac-Man map. So I'm going to hide the map. And now we have our stage. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe too, if you haven't already. In the next tutorial, I'll be creating the player and add smooth player movement. By the way, this project is shared on my Scratch profile. Link is in the description below. Also, make sure to check out Core if you haven't already. Link is also in the description below. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. See ya!